Hello and welcome to We Got a podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z, from Arlia to Zune. We cover it all. My name is Randy.
And I'm 8 a.m. Doug.
And I'm Hit Like, if you know what Zune is, Ken.
That's great, because we are the world's strongest under the heavens. Trio de Dangers here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. Now, this episode, we're going to be talking about all the spicy hot takes about Dragon Ball. But first, I got to ask that age-old question. Dougie, how you doing?
Yo, man. Well, if you know, you know. I went to the pop-up tour in New Jersey, and I got right here in my hands the Genkidamatsuri Goku SH figure arts. If you're listening to the audio version, my hands are blank because I didn't get it. I failed. I didn't grab. We went too late. We showed up at 8 a.m. I went with Jake and Mike, and Albert was there. He met us at the mall there. But long story short, we went 8 o'clock. Knew we weren't going to get the figure that was being exclusively sold at this pop-up tour. But we still hung out anyway. Waited in line for about 5 hours. Then found out it was like, yep, you're not going to get one. So then we experienced the tour, took some photo ops, and just like generally just hung out and had a good time. If you want to hear more about it, I did a whole podcast with Mike on Kanzenshu, the podcast. An extension of the all-encompassing Dragon Ball fan site, Kanzenshu, where we cover anything and everything Dragon Ball in hopes of enlightening and a little bit of entertaining. Nailed it. I did a whole thing in his basement while he was asleep. I did the whole spiel, practicing it to record on his microphone. So I got to visit also Mike's house and the podcast basement. Man, that's a trip in and of itself, right? We are all here, I want to say, because of that podcast, right? And so that was very special for me to see in person and just experience. But yeah, it was awesome. If you want to hear the podcast, we talked about our whole experience there. So give it a listen.
It was a great time listening to that episode. Other than the feeling of jealousy I had the whole time. I'm like, Doug's the first one there? He beat me to the Kanzenshu headquarters? Dang it.
I was like, dang it. If the three of us could join Mike, recording in that room, because the flow, the energy is just so much different when you're in person doing this podcast than it is on we're on Zoom right now, right? And so because there are moments I could just tell Mike, I can give him a look and he knows that, oh, I need something to say, or I'm done with my sentence. It just makes things flow a lot better, and it's just another world.
Well, we have done an in-person podcast before, and we will do one again sooner than listeners may think. We just got to figure out the logistics, because I have some notes about the way we did it last time, so we'll figure it out.
Okay, great. Great.
Yeah, and we'll make it 10 times better than it was before.
Wow, what a claim.
Mm-hmm. I know. Huge claim. Ken, how about you? How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I am still on my wonderful Plex journey that I'm on. I'm watching, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean. I got to the big death in part 6. If you know, you know. And now I have also started up Boruto, the anime. Longtime listeners may know that I adore the Boruto manga, and it is essentially a blueprint for what post-Z Dragon Ball, post-Boo Dragon Ball should have been, in that all of your legacy characters are still around. You have your Goku, Vegeta, you have your Naruto, your Sasuke, your Sakura, who are still some of the strongest ninja out there, but they're not driving the story forward. They are important. They are in big fights, and they get to have a lot of fantastic moments, but they're not the central characters. Hint, hint, this is kind of how I operate Oobtober as well, in that it is Boo, or it is Oob and Pan going forward, and Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and they're all there, but they're not the focus. And I've been watching the anime. AJ, friend of the show, AJ, helped me compile a list of episodes that he's calling manga enhanced. So this includes some anime-only stuff that is really just there to fill in the blanks from the manga, because the manga is very much drops you straight into some of these characters already having known each other and being a team and in certain situations. So this incorporates some anime episodes that introduce these characters and how they become a team, and then take you on some kind of fun adventures that aren't necessarily in the manga, but it's still, I'm cutting out 130 episodes of this show.
Nice.
So
much needed. I'm
going through it right now before I can recommend to you two to watch it, because it has to get my stamp of approval. I have already hit a point where I'm like, no, I need to go back and put some more episodes in here, because I don't like the way this flows, because suddenly a status quo was changed and we didn't get to see it change. So once I go through these, I think it's like 164 episodes, then I'll be like, Randy, Doug, it's time for you to watch Boruto.
I've been meaning to watch Naruto again, so that's be a perfect time.
I have already taken Naruto and Shippuden on my Plex, and I just took a hot knife and I cut out any episode that is filler. Wow. So the problem with that is that there are some episodes of Naruto and Shippuden that weave manga material through filler episodes. So you might hit a point where you're thrown into an episode, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of filler stuff going on that you have no context for, and then like 10 seconds are covering something from a manga, and then you go into the next episode. So that's going to be a bit rockier one, but for Naruto and Shippuden, I'm like, I no filler episodes at all. Cut, and then I'll see how much of a nightmare that is someday for myself. But Boruto's going pretty smooth so far.
Nice. That's exciting. I read Naruto through twice, and I watched a bunch, like the entire canon stuff from the original series, and then maybe like 60 or so episodes into Shippuden before I was like, forget it, I'll just read this, and I
I think
stuck to that.
I never even finished, I think, Naruto Shippuden proper, so I'm like, I need to watch all that, how it ends.
Yeah. I have a distinct memory of being in college and being basically just like at some downtime in the computer lab with a friend of mine, and he was just like looking up Naruto openings and stuff and just chilling, and he was watching one, and I was like, who is that? Like in the opening, and he turned to me, he's like, oh, he's this guy, like he does this, he's got like part of like the Nine Tails in him, and he does this thing, and he's looking at me and he goes, this is filler, isn't it? God damn it. He's just so upset because he knows that I read the manga, but seeing that like I have no clue, he's like, oh man, I'm so invested in this and it doesn't matter. Why did
That's when they realized it was just filler.
There was yesterday, I forgot what Kisame's name is, right? And for those who don't know Naruto, he's a bad guy, but I forgot his name, and so I go into Google and I type in Itachi's partner in Naruto and I hit enter, and the first result it gives me some filler character that was like Itachi's partner before Kisame, and I'm like, oh my god,
what? Oh my god,
nightmare anime.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much out there, and we don't know it in and out like we do Dragon Ball, where we'd be like, oh yeah, that's filler, 100%. Like that doesn't happen here, or that gets, it's confusing and all that. But yeah, that's exciting. I'm glad that your journey goes well.
Well, I'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, Randy, what have you been up to?
I'm just really excited because at the end of this week, by the time you hear this, I will already have started Resident Evil Requiem, and I'm very excited about that. I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's been, 5 years since our last new numbered Resident Evil since Village, so it's about time. I'm excited. I'm worried that it's going to be weird because they're like, this character will be like a more of a horror experience, but if he plays this one, it's going to be more action gameplay. I'm like, you guys tried this with 6 before, and it didn't go well. It's very bad. So
I'm also excited for this game, but I will not be playing it. There's a streamer I like, Avoiding the Puddle, Eris. He streams, he plays a lot of Resident Evil games, and I always watch him play them when they come out. And so he will be playing it this Friday, and so I'll be loading up that VOD.
Oh,
getting scared myself.
Great.
Heck yeah.
I love doing that too, Ken. Yeah.
I booted up Resident Evil 6 a couple of days ago just to refresh my memory, because I feel that it won't be as bad as 6. But if I don't have fresh memories of what that's like, I'll put it together in my head of like, no, yeah, this is exactly like 6 and it's bad. But if I have 6 on the brain, I can be like, oh, this is a leagues better. I don't know why I was so worried and freaked out about this.
Does that game have co-op like 5 did?
Yeah, it sure does.
I own 6. Randy, where's my call? Come on.
Okay, well, we'll get off this phone call right here and we'll go play some Resident Evil 6.
It's a weeknight,
It'll be
sorry.
a good time.
Schedule's full.
Sorry. Yeah, well, let's play this weekend. Oh, can't do it this weekend. I'm playing Requiem, so we'll just have to try it again another time. Yeah, it is what it is. Otherwise, like Ken, watching some other shonen anime, I finally started watching Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War. Now, I did read pretty much all of Bleach up to where I'm at now, because I had gotten to midway through this whole thing, and I thought, I don't care anymore. Actually, you know what? It's fine. I don't need to know how things go. And then a friend of mine finished it when the manga wrapped up, and she was like, yeah, it's not good. And I'm like, Yeah, all right, cool. I saved myself a couple of months of having to read this, but I thought this is a second go. Maybe things will be better. And, this is going to be an anime that isn't weekly. They're doing it like as a seasonal thing where like every, I don't know, what was it? It was like fall one year and then the next part was like summer. So it's like, all right, cool. We're keeping a decent cadence.
So when you read the manga, how much of it did you read? And you stopped in this arc?
I think I stopped maybe like 2 episodes ago from where I'm at right now. So This is the second time the Quincy's have entered the Soul Society.
Have you read it?
This? No. I mean, I read everything, chapter 1 up to that point, and then I was like, I'm out.
Okay. So you at least saw the stuff with like those weird guys who have powers that like unrelated to anything else, basically.
The Fullbrings, yeah.
The Fullbrings, yeah. Okay. I have been watching 1,000-Year Blood War as well. I mean, I watched it as they were coming out, and so I'm ready for this next season to start. It's fantastic. I like it. It's better than the manga. It can only improve on the ending of the manga, and that's because Tite Kubo is
Get it right.
Is working on this directly, I believe. And so he's like getting a second chance to fix the ending. Because the ending of the original manga, without giving literally, I'll give nothing away, they hit a point that's like the climax, and then they jump forward in time to the epilogue, and then the characters in the epilogue recount how the climax ended.
Oh.
And so this is now hopefully going to fix that, and I think this is the final set of episodes that we're heading into.
Ooh.
So hopefully it will not be a disaster like that, and then hopefully, truthfully, wonderfully, if we could get that epilogue chapter and then which leads into new Bleach stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because, it could be an improvement on everything. Because, I didn't hear that it was a good ending, and it seemed like maybe it was Shueisha or something. Like, come on, wrap it up. Like, you're done. Like, this isn't doing big numbers in Japan. So then it was kind of like an abrupt, this final arc has gone on too long, just end it.
I'm not an expert on Bleach, but I think he got sick.
Oh.
Or something like that. But it did end earlier than intended.
Gotcha. Okay. Well then, here's hoping that they use this as an opportunity to build on that, because I'd like to see it come to a nice conclusion, and I've been having a good time so far. Like, I don't usually sit and watch a lot of stuff in a row, but the other day, like, I think I went through like 5 in one sitting without getting up. I'm like, I just got to see what happens next. Keep showing me stuff. I'm having a good time. So I'm stopping to record with you guys. I had to finish an episode real fast and then jump into this phone call. So we'll see how it goes. I'm 19 episodes in. I think, what is it? They're like 39 or something so far, because there was like 3 sets of 13 or so. So
that's good stuff. You saw the thing with the old guy, his fight?
Like the head captain dude?
Oh, yeah. What an episode.
Wow. Yeah. That was a good thing that just really like hooked me. I'm like, okay, well, I can't stop now. This has to keep going. So I'm enjoying it.
That is when this arc kicks into full gear, like production-wise, and you're basically... Not every episode is going to be quite like that, but you are now in a higher gear going through.
Yeah. I want to keep going, man. So let's actually just get through this episode real fast so I can get to it. So how about we just do that? Does that sound like a good segue? Perfect. Good. So
I almost called out a segue while we were on the Kanzenshi podcast. Like, Randy would have been proud of that segue, but I didn't want to break character or whatever.
Oh, that's
break the flow.
Well, we can listen to it together sometime, and you could point out, like, this is the thing that I was going to say.
Yeah.
It'll be our own special thing, and it'll be a good time. But anyway, we're here to do some Dragon Ball hot takes. Ken put out the call over on Blue Sky for, them flaming hot ones. And our plan here is to listen to what you guys had to say. And Ken has been so gracious. He's very good at convincing us of things that we felt he would be best to be serving the defense here in this court of We Got a Podcast. Taking the side of the person who put out their hot take, and then Doug and I are going to see if we can come up with something to counteract that. Even if maybe we don't believe it ourselves, because some of those hot takes we do agree with.
I'll find something.
Listener, just go with us on this one.
Yeah, let's roll.
Right.
Even I don't know what we're doing right at this moment. I'm just going to flying by the seat of my pants. Did I say a saying right? Is that a saying correct?
You got one.
Yes. I've been saying siphoning all weekend.
It's hard to get out of my head. I just keep thinking about siphoning. So, but we're not siphoning it here. We are just going to go to it. So, number one, how do we want to do this? Since Ken, you were taking defense, do you want to read them or should I read them?
Sure. Well, you go ahead and read them, and then I'll jump in with my opening argument.
Alrighty, that sounds great. Gives you time to formulate and work there. So, hot take number one is here from Jake, or Doug number 2, or Jay Lunar.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm interested in watching probably everyone but Vegeta at this point in my life. Not trying to trash him, but you can't deny that his actions and personality affect the cast far more than anyone else, even Goku. I find myself craving the pre-Saiyan arc friend group dynamics. They're lifelong friends. Does that mean I don't appreciate how far he's come from his younger days? Definitely not. Before the 2013 revival, I was content knowing he sort of chilled out and blended into the group. Nowadays, it feels like the Goku plus Vegeta show, and I don't care for it. More slice of life with the OGs, please.
If it pleases the court, you have to think about Vegeta holistically. And this is a guy who has murdered, pillaged, who knows what else he's done, right? And has never truly answered for his crimes. The moral arc, blessed be thy name, does address some of this, and is wonderful and perfect. Some might say the best arc in Super. And they would be right, unless there's a hot take later to disagree with that.
Ken says often.
Yeah. So Vegeta, there is something that has always not sat quite right with me about Vegeta being part of the group, right? Yamcha was kind of a pretty harmless bandit. Tenshinhan, he might have killed, but it never really seemed like... Was he an assassin? Or was he just a student?
Trained to be an assassin.
Yeah,
training basically to be one.
Yeah. But, he's only killing bad guys, right? From what we see, we know we have seen Vegeta kill innocents. Even Piccolo, while he is his father, he is also not his father. And so he kind of gets a little pass there from me, at least. So for Vegeta, this guy who is, I don't want to say he's like Space Hitler or something, but he is not a good guy and he's never truly brought to justice. And for him, what message is it sending to kids for this guy to continue to be one of the protagonists of Dragon Ball?
That it's never too late for you, listener. It's never too late to not change who you are, but just evolve in a sense. You know what I mean, Randy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I disagree that just because the guy hasn't done time for the things that he's done doesn't mean, he doesn't deserve the place where he's at right now. Because I'm going to be honest. Here's my hot take. I think Vegeta is the soul of the story after he's introduced. I think that he has more room to grow and more interesting dynamics in terms of putting together an entertaining show than Goku, who is Waku Waku and likes to eat, likes to fight, and that's great. But Vegeta just has so much more going on, and I enjoy the OGs. Yeah. I do miss them. I do agree with that, but what really are we going to do with Yamcha,
And let's yeah, true. But let's be real about the situation. What really is that fans loved Vegeta, and so Toriyama kind of brought him up to be more in the spotlight because of that. But I feel like it kind of emulates real life in a sense where all of us, we grew up, we had friends in elementary school, maybe different ones in middle school and then high school. And then maybe later down in life, you meet someone that you really, really connect with that can really like even you had best friends in high school and you would consider they were your best friend, but then you find the Vegeta in your life. It's like, oh, this is my ride or die now. It does feel kind of weird. It kind of feels weird in the story that it's just like, oh, now the Goku Vegeta show. But hey, the We Got a Pod is the Doug, Randy, and Ken show, right?
Right. I'm not here with my buddies from high school or elementary school. I'm here with Doug and Ken.
Right.
So.
And none of us have ever killed anyone that I know of.
Right. In game.
That you know of. In game. Very well done.
Why is that closet always closed, Randy? Why is that door always shut?
Part of what made the moral arc so wonderful wasn't just Vegeta coming to terms with his sins, But it was also that it did feature Tenshinhan, Chaozu, even if he didn't get to speak to Goku, and Yamcha jumping in there, and even Kuririn and unfortunately Roshi jump back into the fray. And it was nice to get the whole gang back together than just Vegeta. And so that is our closing argument.
That works. Yeah. I like that. I don't know. I am slightly convinced that I think that maybe we should do more. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Doug, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm confused, but yeah, let's go.
Okay. We're trying out something new here, everybody.
As long as I'm confused, I'm A-okay.
That's true. Right, status quo has been met. All right, so let's move on to number 2 here. Hot take number 2 from Nero Nova. And I have to open that link. Here we go. New Bardock, Dragon Ball Minus and Broly, is far more interesting and a much better character than the OG Bardock. I just find him more interesting when he has more to do in the story.
Okay, so let's take a look at who these two men are. Okay.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z Bardock is a product of Koyama, I believe, is who wrote that. Of course, initially designed by Nakatsuru and then redesigned by Toriyama, but written by Koyama and later reincorporated into the manga. So right off the bat, not Toriyama's baby, okay? This is a guy who is part of a squad, really no attachment to his family, then finds out his son's being sent off. He gets punched in the neck with a future fist thing and sees his son in the future, and then all of a sudden starts to have remorse right there. You know, he has an understanding, he has a story, and he also has a theme song with camera shutter clicks in place of what should be Scouter sound effects. Now, I'm just stating facts, okay? Now let's take a look at the other
in the back of the neck with a future.
Let's take a look at the other Bardock here. Product of Toriyama, okay? 100% a creation of Toriyama. He wasn't asked to do this, I don't believe. There was no Ioku breathing down his neck saying, "Craft me a story to bring future Trunks back. Let's bring Broly back." You know, this was Toriyama's baby as a part of Jocko. And so already you've got Toriyama's soul in this character. This is not as angry of a character, and this is a character with family. But that gets built upon in the Granola arc, in which we find both his strained and deep relationship with his sons, and how he can feel for people he once considered his enemy, to really shock his worldview and lead to the same endpoint that the Bardock special does, but in a 100% fresh and Toriyama-touched way.
Very well said. I think that Z Bardock is more interesting because he is such an opposite to our main hero, Goku, in that he is very selfish and very bloodthirsty. I mean, he doesn't like to fight to fight. He enjoys his job of wiping people out. But then over time, you know, he kind of realizes things that no matter what he does, his future is bleak and not going to be very long. And he tries to put a stop to things that isn't just for himself, but for his family. And it is kind of an evolution of things. And he was never a great guy, you know? And that's where Goku comes from. That even though he comes from, you know, a murderer, genocidal maniac, and that whole society, that whole culture, that it is more inspirational that way because it better serves our main character, Goku, than just having a golly gee shucks sort of dad who is, you know, more in tune with his family.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a collaboration is what I think is amazing about it. Like, Toriyama saw this Bardock and was like, wow, you got something here. I'm going to incorporate that into my story. You know what else was another collaboration with Toriyama? The Moro arc. Am I wrong? One of the stories you would say is amazing, right, Ken?
The Moro arc? Yes, it is.
Yeah, an amazing collaboration. So good things can come from collaborations. Is all I'm saying. Saying.
I'd like to present Exhibit A. Randy compared
he's got
Toriyama's
evidence.
Bardock as a golly gee shucks. Randy, on the very first appearance of Bardock, what is he doing?
Now, unfortunately, the screen is very tiny, and I don't seem to recall. But it looks like he's kicking somebody right in the junk. Maybe.
I'll help you out. He is part of a murder squad, and not quite who I would call a golly gee type character. A lot of his harder edges we just don't see here, but they are implied.
Implied rather than explored. That's an interesting way to go for it. But
well, now our friend friend of the show Toyo Taro does get into that in the Granola arc, kind of marrying these two disparate versions of Bardock into one. And I think we can all agree, for better or worse, for thriving or in poor, that's what we're all here for.
In sickness or in
right.
health.
We found a happy medium. We found common ground. Thank you, Toyotaro, friend of the show.
Yeah, I did have an issue with like the minus Bardock at first, but then he did kind of grow on me where it is like the whole planet doesn't have to be evil for Goku to stand out as the one weirdo that's not evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it is standing off of edges, which I did enjoy, but I can appreciate this new take, and that it's all right.
Rand's really taking this to heart, like he's losing the case.
Look, I really do prefer Z Bardock. It's where it's at, to be truthful with you. But I'm doing what I can.
I like the shutter
here.
sounds. The camera shutter sounds, Ken.
Yes.
I never said.
Absolutely.
So I
said nothing subjective one way or the other. I was simply stating a fact.
He's presented fact.
You did. You stated them very,
the best
very well,
attorneys say.
sir. All righty. So we're moving on to our next one, which is from Jacob Sawyer, who says, I like Kai. It is how I was able to get my wife into Dragon Ball and was a lot of fun to watch with her. My other hot takes are probably more related to the fandom than the property, so I'll refrain from sharing those. So let's kind of take this and go with that Kai is the better version of the story versus the original Z. Now, Ken, do you think you can spin that?
I think I can. I'm going to reject the way you're proposing this, and I'm going to say that for a first-time viewer in current year, and you have to show them Kai or Z, you show them Kai. Now, I know the music placement is not what we would prefer, assuming we're watching the Kikuchi version, because that is the more widely available version these days. Assuming we're watching, the music placement is not what we prefer and not what was built into Z proper back in the day. The intended way to see those scenes with that music as was originally directed and selected. However, there is so much. Have you seen kids today? You know?
I try not to be around them, to be honest.
They have no attention span, right? And I'm not saying I'm any better, right? I probably have undiagnosed ADHD. But you can get straight through the Cell arc in 100 episodes. And so to get someone with no affinity for Dragon Ball Z, and you just say, I want you to Raditz to Boo, I think the kinder thing to do is to show them Kai than to sit them through the original series. Unless there's someone who's like born in the fires of One Piece and can take 291 episodes versus the 1200 that they're used to, then maybe. But if I were to recommend one of these two shows to someone who had never seen them before, I would say just do Kai. It is a fine enough product for the first time.
I would disagree. It's not a fine enough product because the color and everything, the retracing just looks kind of horrendous. It loses a lot of the charm, and not even just in the animation of it all, but also just the dumb little filler arcs that you miss out on. There's so many like little things that if you watch Kai first, I don't see someone watching Kai and then going back to watch DBZ to see if they miss those little like filler things. Like those filler things are enjoyed upon first viewing. It's not like you gotta check out this like filler episode. Even the car episode, the car filler. It's like, yeah, maybe go check that one out. But there's so many other little bits and tidbits here that you just miss out on that really makes Dragon Ball charming as an anime. Because I can definitely see what you mean. Like, oh, you read the manga instead. Like, you get the Kai version of just reading the manga, and people enjoy that. But something special about the Dragon Ball Z anime with all its flaws and time padding.
Yeah, I would agree with what Doug is saying there. I think that one thing that I want to highlight again is the jarring animation changes that we have, especially in those first 100 episodes where we were doing some retracings and things. Sure, you were getting a more time-efficient version in Kai, but I think that it's going to be far more jarring. Going back and forth between what was at the time 2009, modern animation for the opening, for Eyecatches, for the ending, and then, of course, some very clearly digital tracings of some shots, to then back to, the 1989 TV series, cell animated, and things like that. You have new voice acting. Now, if we're talking purely about if you're watching things in Japanese, I think that you have a more lackluster performance in Kai.
Yeah. Ryo Horikawa's voice was not what it was before.
True.
That Vegeta voice.
And it suffers more in other aspects than it does shining from being shorter and a bit more of a cohesive story. So there are trade-offs here and there, but I think that it doesn't equal out. And really, 291 episodes is not that long. You watch one episode a day. You're done in less than a year. It's not hard.
Less than a year. Or a Randy week.
True.
I'm not arguing that Kai is a better product, but we three are very in the weeds with Dragon Ball. And we need to separate yourself out from that to someone who doesn't care if Horikawa was smooth talking in the original, or someone who's not going to know Goku said the Weasel's last fart line here better than he did in Kai, right? Or who's not going to know specific music cues and placements, and probably won't even be able to tell that you're cycling through like 3 different animation supervisors in an episode sometimes, or who may not even notice the retracings. And I think that anyone who at this point in current year who has already not seen Dragon Ball Z, you could show them Kai and they're not going to have any issue with it. And if what you're doing is to breadcrumb them into the franchise, I think that's the way to do it.
In Ken's defense, too, there's just an easier way to watch Kai than there is Dragon Ball Z. It's like, hey, you want to watch Dragon Ball Z, you got to get these sets of DVDs. These aren't available anymore, but you got to get these, then these Blu-rays. But then go back to the Orange Bricks for this specific episode. It's a mess.
Now, not to say that Kai doesn't have that itself, because we have 2 different musical scores. So if you wanted to watch Kai originally envisioned, with stolen music and all, you can't really track that down. A lot less
complicated, though.
Right. That's very true. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Sure.
But I think very excellent arguments there from all sides. And I'll come out and say the truth. I agree. You should just go with Kai.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would show people DBZ recut, but we're talking about like they have to have access to a Plex. They have to know what Plex is. Someone has to have that for them.
Not the common consumer.
Right.
DM me, because I'll make it happen. Because right now, I finished up through the Cell arc, and my husband, who has seen Dragon Ball Z up to the point where Vegeta sacrifices himself, and he's like, that's where it ends. I've never seen anything past that. I was like, well, I'm here now. Do you want to watch it with me? And he was like, okay, let's do it. So we are doing Z recut of that right now.
Yeah. But I think if you're really I don't know, you won't even notice that if a new viewer just if they enjoy Dragon Ball, they'll just like we did back in the day. You just enjoy everything, filler and all.
That's true. That's very fair. Well, I think that one's then is up in the air for Doug, or he's still kind of on his side that he was defending for.
More power to you.
We'll move on to our next one. Hot take number 4 from Nerdy Norwegian, who says Dragon Ball Super is the worst thing to happen to the franchise because of how much Dragon Ball Super has taken over the attention that should be given to the original manga and series. Whenever we get Goku in one of his Dragon Ball Super forms instead of something from Toriyama's original manga, like in his appearance in the Macy's Parade, I'm saddened. Games, merch, etc. has also mostly ignored original Dragon Ball in favor of Super, which is a major bummer.
Whose side are we fighting for?
Yeah. We have to take a trip back to the year 2012. The world was going to end. You guys remember this?
Yeah.
Wii U had come out.
Yeah.
It was a
the Backstreet
wild...
Boys just debuted their first album.
Right. It was a wild time. And we didn't have Beerus yet. And
Yeah.
Dragon Ball was a different world, but I still, man, nerdy, I don't know how much I can argue with you, because I would say, I would just want to contextualize, we had been living in Z for a long time. And we had the video games, like we had the Budokai games. We didn't get anyone from the original Dragon Ball until the third one. And that was with Goku, and then Piccolo Daimao was a costume for regular Piccolo.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Now, I want to interrupt and say, when he says OG Dragon Ball, I think he's talking about the manga volumes 1 to 42, not the first 153 episodes of a TV show. This is from Pilaf to Boo.
Right. So it is a little bit annoying that we do get a blue-haired Goku going through the Macy's Day Parade. That is correct. And I believe that they fixed that in this latest one, and he's just in his black hair as well. Or did he pop? Didn't someone pop this last one? Was it Sonic again?
He's always getting into trouble. You know that, Sonic.
It would be wonderful to be able to go back, right? Because Super, as far as Ioku and Toei are concerned, that ended in 2018, and we're only just now seeing it come back. So why haven't we been able to go back? And not that I'm saying I want to see a Cell balloon come through Macy's, let's do second form Cell while we're at it, you know. And he's big. He's already big. It's canon, guys. He's about to explode.
Violence.
Right, yeah. And he's coming through. But it does make sense that, whatever is contemporary is what you want, what you expect the kids to know.
Right. That's why, like, from 2009 to like 2000 before Super, all the SH figure arts they had on the bottom, instead of Dragon Ball Z, it said Dragon Ball Kai on the boxes. Like, that was what a lot of merchandise was labeled as, just because that was what was marketable at the time.
So, nerdy, I would say let's take to get to the soul of your point, and where I can agree with you is that we are now at a point where people are probably starting at Beerus, and that sticks in my craw. Like, I don't know about you guys, right? So how many of those people are then watching Super and going back to Kai? I'm sure there are a lot, right? But it is unfortunate that Super is the main product when there's so much beloved stuff that we all care so deeply about. And that's not getting any attention, and instead it's Super Saiyan Blue Goku.
You've got to take a look at it from a marketing standpoint here. Dragon Ball Super is the new hotness, comparatively. I mean, granted, we've had another series since then, but we're weaving back into Super now with Beerus, and then, of course, Galactic Patrol. And when you do that, you've got to be selling and, like, hyping up what's new, what's current, We don't see new products or games or anything for the Naruto franchise that they're like, look at this. Here's 12-year-old Naruto. He's back, baby. Isn't this where it's at? Like, no. He's an adult now with responsibilities. And he's kicking butt in these new forms. He's on fire. It's totally wild. We're not going to have, small teenage Goku who flies around like a helicopter with his tail. People want to see new hair forms and more power and things that are really cool. And Super brings a lot to the table there. I mean, we bring Frieza back. He's a villain. Now he's good. This guy who is, again, psychopathic murderer. And now he's, fighting with the good guys. That's something to be exciting, That's dynamic. And also it's shorter. It's shorter than the other anime. So there's that too.
So, nerdy, it must please you that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot exists, because that is what you're looking for, really. That's a celebration of the original series. There is a little bit of Super adjacent product in that you have Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, which are Z movies, remember, and then there's a little bit hinted at in the Trunks stuff, as well as Daima. So I think, nerdy, I look forward to hearing you praise Dragon Ball Z Kakarot more, since that really is the kind of shining light in this dark era of Super.
Ken working in his absolute love for Kakarot to, I don't know.
Any chance he can get.
Bolster his points. That's we should have a referee on the side here throwing out some sort of foul on this. We should
every time he mentions Kakarot. Yeah.
I wish I got paid.
All right. Number 5 here we've got from IndieGex or IndieGex. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm trying my best here. I think adventure-centered Dragon Ball should be put to rest. The peel-off of Red Ribbon Army arcs were good and valuable, but not as good as the tournaments and Piccolo arcs. And for some reason, they become what defines OG Dragon Ball for both fans and the higher-ups, GT and Daima. It's just not where Dragon Ball shines. So, early stuff, not good. We should stop, waxing about how great it is, when the later things, Piccolo, onward, that's really good.
Man, I don't really have to reach far to agree with you on this one. I have a hard time with that first arc. I was recently on the Kaiju Comic Cast with Russ.
Tomes.
Kaiju. Talking about Ozaru. And that is like one of my least favorite parts of the series. But we were able to celebrate that form. And then Red Ribbon Army, I have preached multiple times how my distaste for that story up to Tao Pai Pai showing up. But I don't know necessarily if I think that that's the way people look is what identifies that part of the series, right? We have a Figuarts that is the Tamashii store exclusive. That is that Goku, and he's got that fierce look on his face when he's about to take down Piccolo, right? We do have representation from that part of the series. And the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai got a whole ass DLC in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. That's right.
There it is again. Woo,
I don't necessarily think that Pilaf and Red Ribbon Army are detracting from the rest of the series. I agree with you that I think they are the weakest parts of Dragon Ball. But I don't necessarily agree that the rest isn't also being celebrated.
I would say that the adventure things have a lot of fruit that you can be mining for where you could take the series. I mean, bringing up that because the higher-ups and things view early Dragon Ball as something that you could keep going back to with GT and Daima, that it shows that, like, you know what? They might be onto something. We all watched Daima, some of us multiple times. And the first 8 episodes, which echo the early parts of Dragon Ball, I think that the three of us, at least Ken and I, really felt was where the series shined and kind of dropped off after that. And guess what? That was the more adventure-centered stuff. So maybe it should stick around and we should keep going for something like that, because you can do more instead of just strong guys show up, me get stronger, beat him, screaming power-ups, so on and so forth.
Yeah, the screaming power-up thing is a lot more marketable, but yeah, there's just so much good story in the OG Dragon Ball. So much good, like, character-driven story, I should say.
Well, I think what we're talking about here is the core original Dragon Ball. And truthfully, I think all of that good character stuff happens outside of that first arc and outside of Red Ribbon Army. You have a lot of character work being done in the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai 22nd, which bleeds into Piccolo, and that's just chock full of character stuff. And which also bleeds into the 23rd, and it really becomes one consistent long story starting from the 22nd all the way to the end of the original Dragon Ball. So I would argue actually that all of that character work happens in that.
And none in Red Ribbon?
Now, Red Ribbon is about Master Roshi shrinking himself down to sit in a toilet while Bulma
get
walks
out
in.
of his system. Yikes.
Yeah.
Ken's like, and you want to revisit that?
Yeah, I think we got some
Check that
Roshi
out.
defenders in the chat.
Okay. All right. Cards on the table here. I agree. I also am like, Tao Pai Pai shows up, now it's good. That's when you could have some fun. It's where it shines. I agree. I mean, I've never been more engaged in Dragon Ball story than I am come Vegeta showing up, or we get the artificial humans, we get Cell showing up, and all these twists and turns of things of, where the plot could go. And the adventure things, I don't think you get as much of that and all that. So I agree with this hot take, quite personally. Alrighty. So next one we've got Silby. And Sylvie here says, no one needs to watch the Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z anime, and it's probably better off if you've only read the manga. I've gotten away with doing only that and the video games for 30 years and counting. And by this, I mean the whole anime, of course. I've watched chunks of it over the years. So stay away from the anime. The manga is where it's at. Some video games are allowed. You can be allowed to play some of those.
Sylvie makes a great point here. That if the court will allow me, 520 chapters solid from Toriyama, right? Some of it, you just heard me say,
Pure bliss.
on the record, I don't like a lot of it and early on. But once we get rolling, it's Toriyama perfection, right? You have Toriyama's bad art sometimes, but it's Toriyama's bad art. Vegeta goes grade 2, and all of a sudden, it's like a different guy's drawing the manga, because Toriyama must have been sick or something. It looks weird, but it's Toriyama's weird. You go to the anime, you got your Ebisawas, your Uchiyamas. Hell, you've even got those knuckleheads over at whatever studio I have forgotten the name of.
Live.
No, not Studio Live. It's the one, Segasha, over there making their bubble muscles and their tiny faces on the huge heads, right? And every character, anytime someone's going to attack, they always do the same thing where their arm or leg flies behind them. It's just retreading the same old stuff, guys. So if you want the purest platonic form of Dragon Ball, you should look no further than Toriyama's original 520 chapters.
But I disagree that you shouldn't just read the manga. You can watch the anime and you'll gain an even bigger appreciation for the manga, because yes, the manga is the better way to experience the story, but watching the anime will just give you a different I like steak, but I like chicken as well. I get to have both and then go back to always steak when I want it. It's there.
It's true. And with a manga, of course, you have consistent art, except for some of those bad days. But who else has bad days? That's right, the anime can have bad days. Like you said, some Uchiyama, some Ebisawa here or there. You can live with it. And you know what? It gives you a better appreciation for when the good stuff comes up. Even gives you a better appreciation for the manga when you sit down to read it. Because you should enjoy both. I mean, with the anime, you're getting so much great music, to accompany all these nice moments that are happening. You get some really great performances from voice actors across the world. And you don't get that reading the manga, This is a
the
full
voice acting
multimedia
alone.
experience. Exactly.
Yeah, the voice acting alone just saves everything. And if you want to go to your manga and read Vegerot and Dijinbu, you go right ahead. Sicko.
I believe it's Dijon.
Redacted.
It's Dijon.
Dijon? Mustard? Whatever.
I think I'm going to assume here for my client that they are arguing that you were able to speak Japanese and read Japanese. And that is the only way. That is the closest you can come to God, is to not have a translator standing between you and the original texts. So I would like this Vegerot nonsense stricken from the record.
Stricken. It's gone.
Okay. I think that's fair.
And so to close out our case here, you can just put the music on while you read. I rest my case.
Ooh. That Dragon Ball Super music. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes.
Just, I'll loop for 10 hours while you read the manga.
It's the only way I experience the manga. Oh, that's good. Well done, Sylvie. And next one we've got Nex. Not next. Next we have Nex. So says, hey guys, recent listener swept up in all the super excitement, loving the show. Sorry, that's not part of the argument, Ken. You do not have to defend how amazing our show is and how excited they are. But says, probably not that spicy, but modern Dragon Ball has a real ongoing problem of not explaining or justifying new transformations. Super Saiyan Rage, Gohan Beast. What, how, why? Let's not even get into Daima Super Saiyan 4. I don't mind them existing, but then you get things like Ultra Instinct that are actually part of the story and built up. Kinda wish it had just been Omen, but still, one of the best super ideas, period. The manga is generally handling things better, pining to see more Ultra Ego Vegeta 2, but there's been a lot.
I would like to present to the court no additional argument needed, and I would like to hear what you two have to say against this.
I was like, no. I need
All right.
to go back.
I think that this is not a new problem. and that it exists in the original as well, so it's really not that much different. Super Saiyan 3, where was that built up? Not even talked about. Goku was not working towards something. Super Saiyan 2 is kind of like you're pushing it because they had trained to just master Super Saiyan. It wasn't anything beyond that. But then all of a sudden Gohan shows up, gets mad, some guy's head gets stomped in, and his hair just gets kind of sharper, and now he's more powerful. Why? That's not explained, in how Saiyan evolution works or anything like that. Super Saiyan 3 taking it even further of just, what up? Here's something new. Make some figures, put me in some video games. I'm going to sell you some stuff. That's going to be how it's going to go.
Pulling out of his ass so hard. But for me, what Randy said, yeah, figures. That's where I'm at. Give me any sicko form. I don't give a crap. I want to buy new toys, baby. New SH figure arts with new crazy hairs. That's it.
The Super Saiyan God makes sense to me. I think it's built up rather well between the different incarnations of the Battle of God story that we have. Look, it's God versus God. We've got Beerus. Here's what he looks like. It makes sense to have a form that kind of looks like that. And you know what? Let's keep it not ridiculous. Let's not just go more blonde hair. Let's keep it red. Let's keep it the same.
Give me lizard.
We could go that way. We could go cape. Well, that's fine. And then Super Saiyan Blue, natural evolution. We've got going Super Saiyan. Now your hair is in Super Saiyan form. Got to change up the color somehow.
Orange Piccolo.
That's true. And even though Toriyama himself said blue is not a very striking or powerful color when we first introduced Super Saiyan God, it is striking and it is powerful. Even though he was wrong when he said it the first time.
I rest his case, Your Honor.
I noticed you said that you thought that, here, I'm going to do it like Phoenix Wright, tapping my papers.
Yeah.
I noticed that you said that Super Saiyan 2, Gohan transforming into Super Saiyan 2, and Super Saiyan 3 seemingly come out of nowhere. But let's take a look at Super Saiyan 2 first. When Gohan achieves Super Saiyan the first time with Goku in the Room of Spirit and Time, it is under a guided journey of father and son practicing to transform to this. So the rage in which Gohan uses to trigger this form, for all we know, could just be a tingly back. And it is not a true rageful experience that he does get with Super Saiyan 2 in the same way that his father had, and the same way that is implied by Vegeta's frustrations with trying to become Super Saiyan, something deep that shakes him down to his core. And so we get a Super Saiyan transformation on top of Super Saiyan, and that is Super Saiyan 2. Perfect. Makes perfect sense to me. Thank you. All right. Super Saiyan 3. Have you seen the guy that Goku is fighting here? Okay. The Buu arc in total is a Toriyama's greatest hits, a return to gag form without having to be as gag focused as Dragon Ball once was. So for Goku to seemingly, as people would say in modern parlance if this were coming out at the time, pull something out of his ass, an ass pull, if you will, it's perfect and within the context of that arc. Whereas modern Dragon Ball, let's see, my client brought up the following: Super Saiyan Rage, Gohan Beast, and Daima Super Saiyan 4, which I don't believe any of those appear in the context of a gag situation. And
this is true.
Where's Caramel Mama? I rest my case.
Doug, you got anything to add to here? You think you got us?
Nah.
There is no getting here. This is just, we're just having a good time exploring all angles.
We are. Absolutely. I'm conflicted. This one really does. I don't know where I stand for that. But that's okay. It's just giving us some things to chew on, some things to think about.
I still don't know what we're doing.
Just like what we can do here with Jason C., who says DBZ Broly is better than Dragon Ball Super Broly, character design wise, at least. That's it. That's the take. His power is maximum. Maybe I'd feel differently if we didn't have a sudden influx of Z Broly figures over the past year. And then I included a photo here of his collection where we have green-haired legendary Super Saiyan Broly, yellow-haired legendary Super Saiyan Broly, and then Super Saiyan 4 Broly.
All right, Jason, thank you for bringing this up. And this is something more people need to hear. is that you have original Z Broly and modern Broly, both designed by the same guy at very different points in his life. Z Broly was, some might say, peak Toriyama of that era, contemporary with the original series, and that was from Toriyama. Now let's take a look at some of the works Toriyama's done over the past 10, 15 years. Oof. Have you seen Jiren? Have you seen Goma? All right. His Broly is just another guy in cyan armor and that weird, like, rectangular off, not all the way pointy shoulder. What's up with that, Toriyama? Right? Toriyama went off a cliff creatively here, whereas he was once the king. And so I don't think you really need to make that much of a stretch to understand that as far as character design goes, which is what my client specified, Z, as the kids say, Z clears Super.
Okay. I have a number of things to say, but I think number one to bring up, you can't compare the cloth ear that Broly has in Super wrapped around his waist with anything that Z Broly is bringing to the table, both in terms of a stylistic look that sets him apart and also something that echoes parts of his past and who has made him who he is. And you also have things like the control mechanism that Paragus uses. Paragus and Broly are just out here doing their own thing, leftovers from the explosion of Planet Vegeta. Why is it that Paragus is able to fashion some sort of special controlling device that looks so, elegant and sleek? It's just these gold-plated things with shiny jewels in them. This dude is basically homeless. He's out there roaming the sea of stars. Versus Super Broly, it's just like this pipe thing with a little, thicker part showing, holding the electronics in there. It is something that, you'd built in a cave with a box of scraps. It fits.
But wouldn't it make sense that Z Paragus, as they're destroying planets, came upon this technology that one of the aliens had, and he didn't fashion it himself, he just stole it from someone and put it on Broly.
Doug, are you on defense here? You're on
I'm switching
my
over.
side.
I'm switching over, man. I can't.
May I present to you two Exhibit A here? And again, I don't have this. So this is a story called
Goku?
Journey to the West, about the Monkey King. You guys may have heard of him. And there's a priest who finds him. And part of the way this monkey, he's crazy. He's out here peeing on Buddha's fingers, all sorts of stuff, weird stuff, man. Check out Journey to the West. It's crazy. And then you've got this priest who comes and kind of puts, what would you call them, lockers on him or whatever, much in the way that Paragus does. Puts these limiters on Broly, including his headband, which is very,
Whoa.
If you take a look at any rendition of the Monkey King, he's got that headband, that limiter on him.
He's got it.
Right? What does Broly have? Some sort of sex kink necklace in Super? And a towel?
I don't think so. And a towel.
No. Toriyama fell off. I rest my case.
Fell off.
All right. Ken's resting his case, but clearly he's reaching and trying to
He's
do
resting
assholes of
his
himself. This is parody. Just saying
You
that.
can't just
Towel.
end every sentence with "I rest my case."
Especially because for that argument, it is over. But
Yeah. I don't know what side.
God
we're
bless you, Jason.
arguing for.
I made a lot of legitimate points here. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I think you made some good ones. Jason, I'm so glad that you felt brave and put that out there. But man,
You weren't.
I love those.
You guys are sleeping on this Journey to the West pull. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's good. Unfortunately, Broly is not Wukong. That's Goku. Goku's.
But in his post, he shows Super Saiyan 4 Broly, and that's a monkey right there. So
It's true.
That's
that's the Beast Deities anime mythos Broly's, by the way.
And that's canon.
All
It's in
right.
Heroes.
It's in Heroes.
Okay. Well, I guess I can't argue that. Instead, I can only bring up this next argument from Weeba, who says, "Oh, I got some spice, all right. I personally believe that the driving episode is one of the most overhyped things in the franchise, and I do not understand why many consider it to be either one of the best episodes of DBZ or at the very least the best filler episode."
Yeah. Weeba, You're preaching to the choir here. Segasha episode. Okay, come on. You know what I'm talking about? These tiny faces, these big heads. You've got the guy's name in this special is Yuzukar, like used car. We can't come up with anything more original for that. And I think the lady instructor's name is also some dumb pun. All right.
Oh yeah, first time Toriyama using puns here.
Sure. Piccolo's killing it in the postboy outfit, and that carries like 99% of this episode. Goku's fit is nowhere near as good and does not deserve the praise, right, of
objection.
This being something that you should watch repeatedly. It is worth a one-time viewing. I know Doug brought it up earlier in this very episode here about you should watch Kai and then sneak in this episode. Really not. You don't need to. You can look up, you Google search Piccolo Post Boy. I saved you the trouble. I rest my case.
And you're done. That's the whole episode. They save kids from a bus falling off a cliff. Do you not support children being saved now? Is that the stance
Goku did it better himself in GT.
Himself.
Interesting. Look, the fit's obviously kind of worth the price of admission alone. But you've also got some really great Chi-Chi moments that you don't really get in a lot of stuff here around this time in Dragon Ball Z. She's being chased by a giant boar. You know, that's fun. And then she's telling Goku something that, like, you know what? As a modern person, makes a lot of sense. You got to get out there. You got to learn to drive because, like, this life, me doing this, is insanity. And I think that you need to be able to do more. Because I've already got enough on my plate. Raising a child here while you're out dying.
Is this her first time grocery shopping? Like, or is she doing this all the time? Because I feel like usually they would just get the resources from the woods. Right? Like, they don't need to go to the grocery store. But I don't know.
Well, when your husband is dead for the majority of your relationship, it's...
you got a lot to handle. Yeah, family to feed.
Exactly. So you have that. You've got other great things like Goku not understanding what it means to, like, you know, what is it, cut the wheel or whatever, and he just, like, chops it off. Like, that's good. You know, Goku not understanding normal things. Always hilarious.
And guess what? They end up getting their license off screen.
Exactly.
So we learned things in this episode, Ken.
Yeah. And what good
How about
is it?
you learn some human decency?
What good is it? We see Goku drive once.
And yeah, a beautiful picnic scene we have thanks to it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Title page, cover page, or is it during
Does
the
Goku
7 years of,
not
7 days?
Park the car on the side of the road and then abandon his family?
Did the car make him abandon his family?
Yeah, he gets out of the car gets all mad, cells killing people, and then it's like, I have to go find Dende.
Oh, yeah.
Just really,
Crazy wild world.
Holistically, guys, like Vegeta, what's the point? Post boy. Next question.
Okay. Well, thank you, Weeba. I appreciate that. Now, for this other one here, we've got Marcus, who says, Boo Arc is underrated. If Namek is where Toriyama best showed his full mastery of battle shonen fundamentals, and Androids in Cell was the height of his twist and turn plotting achievements thanks to editorial input, Boo is where he achieves the most satisfying fusion of comedy elements in an action story. The first 15 chapters of Dragon Ball are bad. Whoa. I think this is the second one. So we're going to get to that one in a sec. So let's just stick here. Boo Arc is underrated.
Come on. Of course. Yeah. I bounce back and forth between this being my favorite and the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai being my favorite. In that the Boo Arc, as I said before, is Toriyama's greatest hits. It is him revisiting the best of his gag abilities. It is the best of his character work. It is him action just like crazy, and he's getting sloppier with his art, but in a good way. It's kinetic, it's expressive. You can tell he is ready. He is at the tail end, 10 years into the story. He's ready to end it, but he does so on his terms. And a lot of people take issue with the ending of him leaving his family to go train this boy. But I just say, there are countless adventures to continue. You just don't see them. Boo Arc.
I'm saying this story could have been just told as the Janemba movie, and I'd be just as good. Just give me that. Give me that 64-minute movie. I'm good. I didn't waste my time with no Gotenks. Was Gotenks in the movie? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He was even fighting Hitler in that movie, so how about that?
A real American hero. That there
Real American
Gotenks
hero.
fighting Hitler. Look, like they had brought up, Frieza and the android stuff, that was where it was good for the shonen battle and the plot twists and turns. Here's the problem with Boo. It's too long for what it is, and also not enough editorial input. He had a new editor for this arc. Too sloppy, both in terms of art and storytelling. And you know what? I think he is just given too much carte blanche to do what he wants with this story, when really he needs a guiding hand.
He
to
does.
be told.
What's the timeline of the whole Boo arc? Like 2 days? What happened to the good old times of 5 minutes on Namek, huh? 5 minutes is all we need.
Well, that was also...
Treacher costs multiple.
It was like a month, because we also had to travel there, and then we were alone on Namek, and then we had to the search for the Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
That was a cat and mouse
Give us time
game.
to breathe. I'm just circling back. Yeah, give us time to breathe like good old days.
The prosecution has brought forth the idea that the Boo arc is too long, and to which I would say, my brothers in Christ, it is about as long as Namek. I rest my case.
Doesn't feel like it, though.
Yeah, when you're looking at the anime, good sir, it's 91 episodes on its own of ridiculousness.
I'm sorry. We already heard from Sylvie that we will not be watching the anime. Thank you. I rest my
Look,
case.
these are all not compounding. These are all indistinct
What if they are?
universes.
That's the twist.
Alrighty. Well, I don't know where I feel about the Boo arc, but we're going to move on to this other one that Marcus had, because I also thought it was just too good that we couldn't pass it up. The first 15 chapters of Dragon Ball are bad. They are in the same unfunny register as a lot of the 100% gags Toriyama material in the manga theater collection. And when we say jokes have not aged well, I think we are being too euphemistic about it. It legitimately makes it quite hard to recommend to people.
It's called, and this is a scientific term, the Roshi barrier.
The Roshi barrier.
And how can you overcome that without having to put like a Looney Tunes warning? This was a product of its time before anyone reads this. This is something that you would find in the manga section where children could go and open it up and page through it. And you want your kids doing that, I'm afraid to ask?
Look, Dragon Ball wouldn't exist without these first pivotal, load-bearing chapters to introduce us to this world, to these characters. And there's lots of really good stuff in there. And look, if you can't handle the things that are happening in those 15 chapters, maybe you're just a little too sensitive. And reading these, learning a thing or two about comedy culture, real comedy.
We need to cut in real quick. Randy's playing a character. All right, now continue.
Thank you. I just think that's where it's at. It is what it is, and you can't put it down because of these things that you might disagree with. Be open to more things than just what's in your little bubble.
I'm gonna take this veil off of the characters we've been playing and just like talk real. There is this woman on TikTok that I'm watching right now. Her name is Amber, and she's reading Dragon Ball for the first time as an adult, like without experiencing any of like the anime or whatnot. She's just right on the manga, and she uploads like her reactions to like the chapters, or I think like per volume as she goes, and she's absolutely loving it despite all the Roshi stuff. Like she brings up the Roshi stuff, like how that's like so weird, especially reading it now, but still absolutely loving the series. And I think it is just as strong. The first 15 chapters like are what got her hooked. She was always like, I don't get this whole Dragon Ball Z thing, but she opens up the manga, first 15 chapters, she is immediately hooked. So it's not, I disagree that the first 15 chapters are bad, or it's not that great.
I need to check something, so Ken, continue.
Okay. Everyone's barometer for Roshi and the humor of early Dragon Ball, they're going to rate different on that. It does kind of make it difficult to be the one to tell someone, hey, read this, and then they flip through it and see a young underage girl exposing herself to an old man, and then they look up from the book and they look at you like this, like, this is what you like?
This is what you like. But by the time you get there, there's so many good around it that it's just like, that's weird. Out of this whole like book of good stuff, there's just this like 1% of just like really off Roshi stuff, you know? If it was like a lot of that, then yeah, it'd be weird. But it's just like a small snippet of it.
Do you tell people not to watch Ace Ventura just because of the weird turns it takes in this last
the whole
5 minutes?
Twist? Yeah. I mean, I think that's just I would say just watch When Nature Calls. I think that's the better movie anyways, for the rhino scene alone.
But look, I left because Doug had brought up this person he was following on TikTok, Amber, going through her journey. I borrowed all of my copies to a friend back in my college years, and she was reading them for the first time. Also was like, I don't get what this whole thing is. And obviously me being the psycho was like, take these and educate yourself. And in each one, she had left a note of her thoughts on the entire volume. And unfortunately, I don't think I have those anymore. I think I might have cataloged them by taking photos of them a few years ago before a couple of moves. But yeah, I mean, she was on board. She read all 42 volumes, you know, and started right at the start, you know? So
yeah,
there's some good in there.
It's not as big as a deterrent as you would think.
Right.
It's going to be different for each person, for sure.
That's true.
Sure.
Yeah. But they're saying Gen Z is more sensitive to this stuff, so they may never get into it.
Wow, you're right.
Start at Raditz. There you go. No problems there. Okay, that's all of our hot takes there. We had some more from people, and don't worry, you will be heard, but we want to save those for after our little break here. So take a break, do it with us, you know, go get something to drink, and you know what, we'll be right here waiting for you. So
I'll make
see
popcorn
you in a sec. Alrighty, we are back here with more. We got a podcast, more of what you guys had to say. Some of those spicy hot takes. We had a couple here that I just wanted to go over. Jacob Sawyer had one before, but he also wanted to share one from his wife, who had a very good point. The other hot take from my wife is that there are many great female characters that are really underused. Videl is a favorite of hers, and she would really like her to get some more stuff to do. And as I was putting this together, I put down, you know, what the argument is, and then I put in all caps, I don't think any of us want to argue against that. Because, like, yeah, we all would love to see more Videl.
Yeah, too many females on the show already. Okay, we don't need any more women ruining our show.
Don't call them women. Call them females, Doug. That's the best way to go about it, to show that you care.
Yep. You think feminism is what Dragon Ball's all about?
When Chi-Chi takes a step back in the series, let me walk this back a little bit. When Lunch kind of exits the show, what was she really contributing to the story other than just being a character? But when Chi-Chi steps back, it's because she wants to be a mother, and this is kind of what she's wanted. The martial arts, while she is good at it, how are we to know it wasn't just so she could get into that tournament to see Goku again? So her stepping back, you get it, right? She becomes an accessory more so to Gohan. Bulma stays around for a while. She goes to Namek, although she doesn't really do anything there. But then she's in the Cell arc. She helps. She's the ones who makes their outfits. You know, she's the whole one who sent Trunks back in time. She is the one who finds Cell's body, and she goes and investigates that with Trunks and Gohan. She stays pretty active in that part of the story. And then in the Buu arc, she's there more to react to stuff that like Vegeta has done. But I do agree, like with Videl, hers probably stings the most. And is kind of a byproduct of coming in right at the end. Had maybe Toriyama had another arc or two in him after Buu, maybe Videl would have become something more of a main cast member, because she was the one that was most like battle ready of them all. and
Yeah.
martial arts focused. So for her to just take a step back and be wiped of all of that stings the most.
Yeah. It's also a product of her being like kind of an accessory to Gohan, where Gohan was to be the main character, but then it's like, no, let's bring Goku back. So it's like she fell where Gohan fell as well. And a lot of the women in Dragon Ball, just as much as the men in Dragon Ball, just like they weren't there unless they served a purpose. That's why we don't see Ten Shinhan in later stuff, or Yamcha and Chaozu. It's just yeah, you know what I mean by that? Like, it's just these people, characters serve their purpose, gender role or not. But yeah, I wish there was more women. But yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's Vidal's whole thing that stings the most because she was such a fun and interesting character, being the daughter of Mr. Satan, who, lied about who beat Cell and everything. Her thrown into this universe now where it's like there's people that are aliens and also they're crazy strong. It's ridiculous. Like, that's really fun. It's good gags, but like, she's on board for defending justice and things like that. She doesn't have to be like, suddenly we tossed her in the room of spirit and time for a day and now she came out and now she can, punch Boo's head off. Like, we don't have to do that. But give her something more to do with martial arts, with, fighting some bad guys and things like that. And then we introduced Kale and Caulifla for what an arc. And after that, we don't ever have to revisit them. Like, come on, man. That was good times.
And they had to be in the worst arc of the franchise. Rough.
Tough stuff. And then this other one here from Gabby, friend of the show. I dare say Gabby says, my one, I think the franchise as a whole is harmed when it focuses on Vegeta as Goku's eternal rival and co-protagonist. It stops the franchise moving forward when every arc has to make a subplot about a guy whose motivation is based on the past to justify why he's going to get another power-up and look cool. And this was kind of similar to Jake's, but, adds a lot more here of just like, we're reshredding stuff, again, with Vegeta constantly going through all of this. And I love Vegeta. And I love all this stuff, even though some things might be sort of retreading. I think that, there are some interesting things there. But I think when you solely focus on that, then you are kind of excluding other characters from joining in and contributing something,
I think for most of Super, Vegeta is there to be the dichotomy to Goku, right? So you can't just have Goku be the only one powering up. And so you have Vegeta kind of like Goku's path is like a straight line. And then you have Vegeta kind of like his is winding around trying to find the same way. And then especially as you get into Granola, where now you have Goku and Vegeta both on these like divine parallel paths that they're on. Hopefully when Toyotaro comes back, he now has more characters in his arsenal. He has Piccolo, he has Gohan, and he has Broly. That last character there may not excite you as being the fifth character here, but we now have more than just Vegeta to serve that Goku is not the only strong character around role.
Right.
So maybe, I don't think Vegeta is going to take a back seat, but having these other characters who are on the cover of Volume 24 of Dragon Ball Super maybe should give you some hope that Vegeta is not going to be as much of a overbearing focus as he has been in this entire series.
Yeah, it won't be just the Goku Vegeta show again. It'll be the Goku and Friends show again.
But mostly Vegeta still.
But most of Vegeta stuff. But it's like one of those things where I didn't realize, like, I think I was sick of Vegeta 2 until Randy and I did that, like, Vegeta retrospective. I'm like, oh no, wait, Vegeta's an awesome character. I do want to see more of him.
Was I not there for that? I was there for that.
I think you were. I think that was your first. Was that your first guest one, or was that your?
I didn't like Ken's point of view, so it's just Randy and I for all intents and purposes.
True.
That was the episode where we announced that I was joining.
Really?
Yeah. I think you were there for news.
Maybe that's why I felt like it was just Randy and I.
Was your first one, and then that one was like, he's back as a guest. Just kidding. It's permanent now.
Yeah, Randy and I knew the whole episode. Doug had no idea.
We keep him in the dark about everything.
Everything. Hell, maybe it was like that idea of like, yeah, I don't think I like Vegeta. And then, of course, classic Ken comes in and like, no, Doug, this is why you should like Vegeta. And like, oh, you know what? So that makes sense that you were on that episode.
Yeah, arguing against Vegeta was one of the more difficult things I had to do this episode because I do love Vegeta. I think he is. I think he and Gohan are the two single best written characters in the series, and so in Toriyama's original, and even though there's some Toyotaro stuff I do like with Vegeta, but yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, very, very tough. Just like some trivia can always prove to be pretty tough.
Going back to my popcorn.
Not to kill that brilliant segue, but we are skipping over Proto Packet.
Oh man, you're right.
Who wrote in?
Somebody. I'm so sorry, Proto.
Said, I played Dragon Ball Fighter Z competently for years. 33rd out of 103 entrants at EVO 2024. It's insanely frustrating how little support this game gets compared to other Dragon Ball games. The game has been on a power creep spiral since 2018 and is now touch of death combos or lose. Sad. People play this game for money. I'm so divorced from that scene that I don't have anything to offer. Then I'm sorry that happened to you. That sucks.
Yeah, that really blows. 'Cause yeah, same here. Like I played it a bunch, but also, I'm halfway decent at fighting games amongst friends, but I don't think I could ever do anything competitively or anything like that. I see these crazy juggling combos and I'm like, that's so rad. I have no idea how to keep up with that sort of stuff. It's tough.
It's crazy stuff. Yeah, that's awesome.
But here's hoping
it's like what they can do.
Here's hoping, with new DLC coming that they can revitalize it somehow. I mean, that game has gone through so many revisions. Like there was a big 2.0 update that changed things. And then there was another one that kind of like changed a bunch of how like different combos work and how just like different mechanics work. So, I mean, here's hoping, that they're just working on it and we'll be improving it. That'd be pretty rad.
Yeah. They're about to have a whole new character set to work with next year.
Yeah, exactly. I would hope that Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku is just the start and that there's going to be a whole bunch of new stuff there. Now I don't have a way to segue into this, so we're just going to just drive right into it.
Killed his beautiful segue, and now it's like, no segue.
It was all worth it. Proto Packet deserves to be heard.
Absolutely.
One of the first responders, and I'm sorry I didn't include that one. That's my bad for when I was putting this together. But we've got trivia here from Zenpai, who asked me, what are we covering? And I brought up, we're doing some hot takes. So he's got his own hot takes in the form of questions. Why does it matter? All right, man.
What was Goku's
you just sit back there with your popcorn
in Super Manga Date number 5? I don't know.
All right. Well, he's got his hot takes in the form of questions, so get ready. Number 1, what is the best transformation in Dragon Ball? What do you think is Zenpai's hot take? What he thinks the best transformation is?
Oh, this is interesting, actually. Okay,
original series?
It is from the original series from, the first 42, the original 42 volumes.
What he thinks is, what his favorite transformation is?
We saying
best
so
one? Yeah.
Like transformation moment or transformation form?
No. Form / the overall form of reading.
And it's
the
a hot
answer
take.
He's got here.
It's
a hot take. It's his hot take.
Doug?
Character transformation or Super Saiyan
The form,
transformation?
not just like that one time when Trunks transformed into a Super Saiyan.
Gotcha, because I'm just going to think second form Frieza.
I'm going to say Gohan Boo.
All right. Well,
Ooh.
Ken is closer. Super Saiyan 3, due to how extreme it looks, how hard it is to pull off, and how few people actually did it.
Randy, bless you for having to decide who was closer on that one.
Who was closer in story arc?
Yeah, that's all I was going off of. So, but thank you.
If you think about it, Gotenks is actually inside Majin Buu as Super Saiyan 3 as Gohan.
All right. Question 2. What is the best edition of the Dragon Ball manga?
Dragon Ball.
I'm for the audio listeners. I am pointing to the what are these Soshuhen or
The
Omnibus
digest
digest editions?
Oh yeah, Digest, what they were called. What form of the manga, and not just like.
Doug,
edition to
I'll
the manga?
answer this for you. It is going to be the brand new Portuguese edition, translated by Zenpai himself.
Yeah, there it is.
No, you are both wrong. It is the full color edition.
Oh, that's
Specifically
right.
the digital one.
That's right. He is the one patron saint of the full colors.
Now, I love the full colors, and I am always like, this is the best. But then anytime I just see the original black and white, I'm like, oh man, this is peak though. So, but I do really love the full color. It's neck and neck for me. So the reason being, every page in black and white becomes color. Every colored page maintains its colors and shading from beginning to end, and much more consistent than even the original edition by Toriyama himself, and he will not hear any arguments to the contrary. So, can't argue
Black
it.
and whites are so good. They're used so well.
I would say it's
Alrighty,
a perfectly
buddy.
cromulent way to experience Dragon Ball. It is not dynamic enough for me, so I would stick with the black and white.
See, I was ruined seeing it. I liked it, and then I was like, oh, there's a One Piece full color edition. Let me check that out. It's gradients all over the place, and I hate it. It looks gross. So
No, that's just One Piece in
that's
general.
how it is.
You know, I started that Netflix show. Yikes!
Hey, I had fun.
It's a
I'm
good way
looking forward
for
to season 2.
newbies to watch it. And people that my friend who doesn't watch anime watch that. I'm like, hey, this show's pretty good. I'm like, hell yeah.
I couldn't make it past halfway through the first episode.
Yeah,
That's my hot take for
Skill
this,
issue.
this podcast.
I want to because I like the actors. The actors are so in love with the show that
Oh.
it's just like the passion bleeds
That
through.
poor kid playing Luffy. He is awful.
Oh, I like it, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to season 2. I've seen all of
But
it.
him as a
All right.
person, him as a human being, great guy.
Number 3. Which is the best Dragon Ball game?
Oh, I'm gonna say Attack on the Science de-esking.
Zenpai, I feel like he has said this before. I don't know for sure, so I'm going to say Super DBZ.
Wow. Okay. So his answer here, it's lengthy because he also has runner-ups. The answer is Dragon Ball Z, parentheses, Budokai 1. While other games are much better at telling the original story, and include the Buu arc, or in terms of pure gameplay, none of them have its sole and near-perfect, and plagiarized, soundtrack. Runner-ups include Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, would have beaten Budokai 1 were it not for its comparative lack of soul compared to the 2002 game. Not even the Kikuchi orchestrations could bring it over the top. Next runner-up, Fighters. Great soundtrack and near-perfect gameplay, only let down by its pretty weak story mode. And finally, Legacy of Goku 2. This is where the Falconer score belongs, in a GBA game. With great graphics, gameplay, and storytelling, it is only let down by the fact that it only covers the Android arc with an inferior sequel and legendarily abysmal predecessor. It remains an unoptimized way of experiencing the complete Dragon Ball saga in a 2D game.
Yeah, when you hear that Falconer music coming through the disastrous Game Boy Advance sound chip, you're like, oh, I get it. This is the right place.
Yeah.
Match made in heaven.
This is rad.
My butt is rocked. This is great. And last one here. What is the best way to experience the Dragon Ball anime?
All right, so I gotta think like Zenpai has been thinking. I'm thinking too outlandish, but then Zenpai reels me back in. But the Budokai 1 answer. So the best way to experience the Dragon Ball Z anime. Now, what does he mean by that? Does he mean Dragon Ball Z and then Kai and that's it? Or does he mean like the DVD release?
So let me read through his answer here and let you know.
I think what we're learning here is we really don't know Zenpai at all, Doug.
Right.
We're letting him down.
No.
It's true. We got to work on that.
Super Saiyan.
I think the
Buhan, close. Super Saiyan 3.
No, it just means like what is the best way to experience the anime vis-a-vis any sort of different ways that have been made available
Okay.
one way or another.
So I would
With
say
the blinds
to
closed.
have grown up and lived in Japan in the 80s and early 90s. And watched it on TV as it aired
Yeah.
with all the commercials and everything.
Doesn't get better than that. I concur.
All right. Well, his answer is not in an official capacity. The rights holders have basically decided to only feed us sloppily mastered official products, so we need to rely on fans to provide us with the upscale, color correction, and manga edits we would gladly pay for if only we were given the choice. Cough, French Blu-ray, cough. My money is on the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z recuts, which reduce the ungodly amount of filler present in the original as much as possible, making it much, much closer to the original manga's vision. Hear that, Dragon Ball Kai?
I want to say
Got him.
I'm kind of correct. Which is the best kind of correct.
The way it was meant to be seen.
See, as I've only seen the 23rd Budokai in the Dragon Ball recut, but for Z, I've seen everything up here so far into the 25th Budokai, as where I'm at right now. I really enjoy it, and it is a lot of fun being a sicko like me who knows a lot of stuff to see like all the little changes, like, oh, they handled this differently. You know, we changed out Gohan accidentally using a Kamehameha against Vegeta, so now he uses a Masenko, as he should. Vegeta never seeing Goku as a Super Saiyan on Namek against Frieza, being like, oh, Kakarot, you dog, you did it. You know, he just comes out of the ground, and then he just, pop, goes away with everybody else, doesn't get to see everything.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, Randy, let me know when they redo that with the color correction, and then I will tune in.
I absolutely will let you know, because it's happening. So it's good stuff. Alrighty, well, that's what we've got for this episode, and want to thank you for listening. Thank you for interacting, because this episode wouldn't have been possible without you guys sounding off and giving us your hot takes. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. We love having you part of the conversation, talking about our favorite franchise in the world. You can, of course, post at us on Blue Sky. We're over there at wegottapodcast.com, or you can email us at wegottapod@gmail.com.
The ultimate on cuts. That's the best way to view. Thank you to Rifti Beats for letting us use the track, Kakarot Theme Hip Hop Trap Remix. You can find that track and other great music by Rifti on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the beautiful, gorgeous people find you?
You can find me at detectivex.bsky.social.
And Randy?
You can find me at Saberbreaker at wegottapodcast.com over on BSKY socials. Just look for Saberbreaker. I make it too difficult, but you know what? You'll see me. You'll know who it is.
Make it difficult every week when you make it sound like it's difficult. Just say Saberbreaker.
Right.
And me, Jabaz Doug. I don't know, W. Bleak, Sky, Dash, Twits. Yeah, that's me, Jabaz Doug.
Thanks for joining us this episode. For those of you who watched the video version, thanks for dealing with us, as Discord, I guess having lost all of their Nitro subscribers, has been consistently crapping itself as we go through, and Randy and Doug have been phasing out of existence. You shouldn't hear it, but I know you can see it. Coming up later in the next few episodes, I'm going to spring this on Randy and Doug now. We're going to Dragon Ball Heroes, baby. Not quite ready for
official?
Victory Mission. Victory Mission is going to be a much longer journey. This won't be a continuous. We will take breaks because I think that's the only way for our sanity. But we will be starting Dragon Ball Heroes next episode. As for how much, you'll have to tune in to socials on that. Make sure you check us out on Blue Sky at wegottapodcast.com.
Randy's done.
And I think there's no way better to leave this on such a high note of talking about Dragon Ball Heroes. So what else can I say but catch you Matsunator?
Bye. I just got the Broly SH figure art Super Saiyan 4 from Heroes. I'm ready.